Oh, it's been a pretty interesting week. I guess I could start with why the title is the way it is. So, as I've mentioned in the past, that I've not been staying with the same relative that I did during, my previous outings for the last couple of weeks. And this other one, the new one, has become well. And I used to tell them before that I would like stream Saturday and Monday. Um, and they were, I guess, going somewhere today, and they mentioned that I treat streaming like it's a job or like it's something, and I laughed at this for a second because I don't know of any jobs where you only work for 4 hours a week. um, but the other part of it was that it's kind of interesting they would say something of that nature when you consider just that I tried to do this consistently, and at least maybe I don't have the time always aligned with what I would like, so either because I'm asleep or some other appointment comes up. But it's really interesting how like you could actually see it as some like word it in some detrimental way that a person takes a hobby that they have with a little bit of seriousness. I don't know. I just thought it was a weird way to refer to something I'm just doing for the sake of having fun. Um, so to get into the events of this week, I guess we can start with the simplest one. I had a job interview. What was that? Yeah, yesterday, and they wanted me to come to their place at 3:30. I left here around 2:30. It's about an hour before it's supposed to take place, and the traffic was awful. And I started like I don't know, like almost starting to like get a little worried that I wouldn't make it. I got to their place about 10 minutes early, but they have some because it's like downtown, whatever. Getting parking was abysmal. And the person who I communicated with or who I had spoken to prior to arriving had said, "Oh, we have parking spaces. You got to pay to get an area." And because I was worried that I like on foot wouldn't make it to them, I was and I've never been to this place before, so I didn't know to like pre-order my thing in advance. I park and then I start going on their site to try and get the because I don't know how long this interview is going to take place. So I start to write down and fill out the information for them to I guess be paid for giving me the service of a parking spot because people will price gouge you out of everything. By the way, I've always said I think paying for parking is so stupid. Like I'm not saying the people who do it are, but like I used to the college I went to, for example, they had a parking lot where you could I guess get like a voucher or something, and then you wouldn't have to pay for the whole semester. And I said if for a school where I have to pay for my own classes, my own books, I would rather just park down the street and walk over there. I'm not about because they have plenty of places you can park and like just nobody will mess with your car. They're just there for people to put their car if they want to. But no one's going to tell me that, the place that's already making money off of me being a student here needs to make more money because I happen to have a vehicle. Like this, I'm not doing that. So I just always thought it was stupid having to pay for parking pretty much anywhere. Like I don't know. I guess the way I am is that a lot of times I just think about the place I'm going to and the types of things that they get money off of, which is their services to people, and the idea that you would give them more money just so you can put your vehicle somewhere close or whatever. I don't have time for it. But again, it's just my opinion. People do what they want. I'm just saying that that's something I've never really been a fan of, like paying for parking, just pretty much anywhere. And the only time I do it is if I'm in some real big rush or if I don't see anywhere else that's like close by to do it with. So that was annoying. But as I went to the place, the building, I don't see anyone in the front. I get kind of worried because this is apparently a business, but there's no one, like a front desk person. There's a front desk, but there's no one there. So I called the person. I said, "Hey, I'm in your building, and I don't see anyone, any directions of which way to go, or if I'm even in the right place at all." And they told me to go upstairs and go to this room, and they give me the number. And then I have the interview. which is with two different people. And I don't know. I don't have any prior experience with the stuff that they're talking about. I'm interested because it doesn't seem like it's that difficult. And that they do kind of hold your hand a little bit with the process of even being licensed to do this stuff. I just kind of wish that I'm starting to notice for a lot of places they want licenses for stuff. Like I'm noticing that trend more and more of this, of not even just like you can't apply and then if you get hired, that's it. You have to like get this other credential as well. It's really irritating. I don't know. I just it's hard to say. But anyways, I the interview in total was probably, I'd say, 10 minutes between two different me speaking to two different people. And after I left and I went back to my, now paid for parking spot, I was like, wow, so I paid, and it was like $5. So it wasn't that big a deal, but it's like I paid for 2-hour parking to speak to two people for less than 11 minutes. Like I just thought about it, I was like, I drove 40 minutes to speak to two people for 11 minutes and pay for parking that I only used. I don't know what 10 minutes out of 120 minutes is, probably like 6%, so, 4%, some number around there. Um, but I don't know, just the more I thought of it, I was like, that's wow, this is really that's the full extent of my it just felt so anticlimactic. Like when I picture driving somewhere far, it's like this big meeting where everybody's talking about all these things you need and you know, this major stuff, like some big huge gathering, right? Or some kind, not even if it's like a bunch of people, but just like enough time is allotted during it to justify going out there. Like you're showing me paperwork, you're showing me the ropes of how to do stuff, just like basics. And really, it just boiled down to me sitting on a couch, the convo couch, and talking to you know, two people about a position that I may or may not get, and I won't know about until 3 to 5 business days. So I don't know, it all just felt so anticlimactic for that reason. Just because they get you, so pumped up for like, oh man, I got paid for parking. I got to come out here and drive 40 minutes. I hope this goes well. I'd like to believe that it did, but I guess only time will tell. Because I thought when I went to that dog place, I was going to get that position just because I had those things mauling me and I was petting them and doing all the stuff that the guy said. Um, and then thanks for coming and having your time wasted by us. We've decided to move on with somebody else. I don't know. Jobs are just they're such an aggravating thing to try and apply for because a lot of times you can't even just have like the interview. Now there's other processes and steps. And there's always these loopholes and I guess what bothers me is that I always have to make sure because I know how these places are. They're hire to fire. They're looking to have a problem with somebody to either meet their bottom line or to I've also discussed that a lot of times you'll tell a place you want to work full time and then they'll hire you on part time anyway. Um, but at this point, I don't even take that stuff anymore. Like I said before, what the purpose of a job is to be able to take care of yourself. And if you can't do that because the job isn't giving you enough hours, then it's useless. And I know some people will say something's better than nothing, but truthfully speaking, if you want a position so you can take care of yourself and they're not giving you enough time to be able to actually do that, then they are holding you back and you probably would be better off just walking away. I felt that way about that place from the year before last. Because when that happened, I had not been employed by somewhere in years, and I was like so excited about working somewhere, and I really thought, okay, they're gonna bring me on. maybe not give me as many hours I would like when it first starts, but then it'll gradually pick up. And instead, it was kind of like this thing where they make it sound like they really, they have their now hiring sign out. They make it sound like they really want somebody. You work there for a few days before the manager threatens to fire you at the end of the first week. Um, and then you barely get used for like the duration that you're there. So I only worked in total 9 days at that place. And it's like all this for nothing. I mean, that same place, it was like a kitchen. They had me go and buy my own slip resistant shoes. So it's like you guys. That's why I say it's just it always feels like when these places get to their bottom line, cutting corners, screw you over phase. I always just think about the fact that like a lot of times they train you in how to do something, and then it's like for naught because they're just going to get rid of you in a few weeks anyway. Like that other place I worked last year, that retailer, man, I learned how to do so much stuff up there with the devices and all the just a whole bunch of things. And it was so sad to think that I was writing down notes on how to remember this stuff to where by the end of the first week I was being told I was doing great, etc., etc. And you're done in by a couple of people going on the website and complaining about you, and some faceless, non-accountable higher ups who've never met you going, yeah, get rid of that person. So I really just kind of my cynicism is just based around the way that these places act, and a lot of the people talk about like, oh, you shouldn't be negative and somehow this will create a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you know that you worked as hard as you possibly could, you were always on time, you always did what was asked of you, you have nothing to feel ashamed over. And I'm not going to feel that way ever, because I know that in every regard I've been willing to stay with these places, and usually they have to demand something of me that's really insane for me to kind of like be like, all right, no, I'm not doing this anymore. um Case in point, there was um there was a job that paid $20 an hour, which is really good compared to the other stuff. Like it's like on the higher tier. And my recruiter at the agency I was with said, "Oh no, I'm not even gonna bother telling you about that." And I said, "Oh, well, I didn't say why, but they explained right after that it was because this place only wanted to hire somebody for 1 week. So you're gonna get this 1 week of $20 an hour just to be jobless again after the week is over, no matter how well you do." Oh, Jim, how are you? But think about that. You're gonna get paid $20 an hour for 1 week, and no matter how well you do, they're gonna be like, all right, thank you. Thank you for your service. Goodbye after 5 days. Now, the last place I worked, I was there for about I'm good, thanks. I was there for about 7 weeks. And I started on a Friday infamously, and everybody had me come up there at 6 in the morning. And I hate getting up that early because I mean, for a variety of reasons. Like I usually don't get up that early. Like, and I'm someone who a lot of times I can get up at 9, 10 o'clock, 11, no problem. But when it's 6, and when you have a position like the one they have where sometimes they want you to get every week, they want you to get up at 6 in the morning for one day, then other days they want you to get up at 9 or 10 or 11 or 2. I mean, it's just not really a doable thing because it's always shifting and switching around, and and this is something that my great uncle said, that like your body can't get used to talk about the constant schedule changes, those temp jobs. And you know what, I just want to mention this so real quick. So I worked that place for 7 weeks. I stopped working there because their office closed. Everybody was just on vacation, right? um And the last time I spoke to the manager, they said something to the effect of, you know how to do this stuff. So if we want to bring you back, you're aware of how to do it, etc. Um, about 2 days ago, I get a message from my recruiter, and they're like, "Oh, that last place you work for, they said you can start tomorrow and work next week." And I say, "Well, it's kind of short notice to tell me at 3 in the afternoon that I'm going to be working tomorrow starting at 6 in the morning." You know what I mean? And then like this isn't I also want to say this. These temp jobs want you to have a uniform. So they have like these uh like you have to wear all black up there, for example. I don't just actively have black shirts with me, so I'd have to go and drive to somewhere else to get that, and then after getting that, come back and go to like it's just it was too much of a hassle just to do like over, especially when you weren't even aware of this until what is that, about 6 hours before you're supposed to go to sleep to even get 8 hours of sleep for a 6 o'clock shift the next morning. So I said to, and also I just further, you know, shades of the ridiculousness. I received I think it was the HPV shot on Thursday, and they said that you could be tired the next day or something. And I didn't want to like run the risk of being more drowsy than usual after sleeping and trying to work up there. So I said to the temp person, like, hey, can you assure me that they're actually gonna have me on for more than 6 days? So they go, and I guess they, you know, their justification is that they're trying to give me some work. But I said, I didn't say this to them, but this is the same one who previously, as I mentioned earlier, when they told me about the one that was $20 an hour, but they only wanted somebody for a week, they said the job was a joke because you'll work there for 1 week and then you'll just be back to being unemployed anyway. So after they reach out to them again, they tell me that it's just for next week, but that could change. And I'm like, huh? Because that's, you know, that's like them basically saying, we're gonna have the option of keeping you on longer if we feel like it, as opposed to us knowing from the 7 weeks you worked here last year that you're a reliable person, etc. You know, blah 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 blah. And I just said, well, forget it. F that dynamic schedule, dude. I'm telling you, like the worst part of that job were the hours. They switch those things like you might switch shirts. I mean, on Monday, it might be 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Tuesday, it might be 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. On Wednesday, it might be 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. On Thursday, it might be like all it did was just keep shifting. And it's even worse when you remember that every Friday, they want you to get up at 6 in the morning. And actually, excuse me, you're supposed to come there by 6 in the morning. That's when your shift starts. So you really have to get up at like 5 to even get there. So and it's like you remember, think how crazy this is. You're gonna work somewhere that a shift starts at 12 in the afternoon. Let's just give you that example, okay? Shift starts at 12 in the afternoon, you get off at 8, and then your next shift starts on Friday at 6 in the morning. So you get to be up for like 2 hours before you have to go right back to sleep to try and get it. Like that's why I said it was just that was the part of that job I always hated. Fridays and getting up that early after getting up, you know, like it just the fluctuations were really obnoxious. That was the way to put it. And I wasn't excited to go back to that, but I would have if they had hired me on full time. But since they want to play this like, you know, yo-yo musical chairs thing with employees, I'm not doing that. Yeah, it is ridiculous, dude. Like again, imagine I tell you, hey, Jem, come in on Thursday from 12 to 8. And you come in at 12 to 8. Okay, Jem, see you at 6 in the morning tomorrow. So again, by the time you get home, it's probably gonna be like 9 o'clock. So what you get like 1 hour to not be working that day, and then you have to you have to go right back to. And the crazy thing is, even the jobs I thought were worse, they didn't do this. Like the one that got rid of me after like 9 days, they were barely giving me any hours. They weren't telling me to come up there at no at 6 a.m. And with the other one that I was with for a week before, the lady was talking about I didn't have the speed they were looking for. As bad as that place was, because every day you had to get up at 6, at least it was consistent. Monday through Friday, 6 to 2:30. Monday through Friday, 6 to 2:30. There was one day, I'm not even joking. There was one day I came in to the job earlier than I was supposed to and worked overtime. I was there for 10 hours. It was like 9 in the morning to like 7 at night or 8 at night. And that wasn't because I wanted to do overtime. It's because they kept shifting and switching the schedule every which way. I just came in that early because I figured, you know, they'll probably, I mean, like I've never really seen someone get in trouble for coming to their job early, usually. But it was funny just because like I didn't even know until after I was like, oh my. So I could have left like 2 hours ago, man. And they always like they offered overtime, but I think I've explained before. Overtime is a concept that works really nice on paper. The idea that you're going to get more money in one day, but there is such a thing as stamina. And I'm telling you, after 8 hours of running back and forth around that place and standing all day, I do start to gradually get tired. And you can call me lazy if you want. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not about to sit here and overwork myself for an extra few nickels a day. Sorry. Hey Jim, come in. You're gonna leave today at 8 p.m. and then you're gonna come back tomorrow at 6 in the morning. You know what it is? I think what happens is that even if you work 8 hours a day, like if it's 9 to 5, or what's another example? 12 to 8 or something, it I still feel like, because I generally go to sleep probably at like 2 or 3 in the morning, it still feels as if I have more time to do stuff I like than if it was something like 6 to 2. Because if like, yeah, you get off earlier and you get to like be around it, like it seems like it's the same amount of time, but it feels like it's more when you get to stay up later. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy for thinking that, but it's just one of those things where, because I'm more used to staying up late than just being out and about during the day, um, I prefer the shifts where it's, like in the I don't know, afternoon to night or something, just I don't know, just it lets me sleep in later. Dude, I remember so many mornings that on Friday just being so tired. And I was like, oh, I have to go up here. And again, it's not even from being lazy. It's just like that schedule was awful. And remember, you're doing this for a place that won't even hire you on full time, and they have the option to do that. I was lucky I had a security guard job at a construction site, tons of OT, and the supervisor called before coming. Man, you're making me jealous. Jealous of Jim. That's my favorite part. Though, like they, if all they had to do was like, all right, they want to hire you on full time, I would have kept putting up with it. But I'm not doing this musical chairs thing. They bring you back for 6 days and then goodbye. Like really? And it's weird to me because it's like they know they're going to be in business without interruption for, I guess, the foreseeable future. So why not just tell this person, hey, we want you for 6 weeks, 2 months, 3 months? Damn, I don't know why that's so, because I guess they get something out of having these temporary people that make appearances and cameos or whatever. It's just irritating. The building was a veteran home that did not pass inspection. I would work 24 hours, 3 days a week. They had a pool and a kitchen. Oh, the place I was with, they had 4 kitchens, and I had to make sure all the pots were turned off and take out all the trash, and um the drinks were arranged in such a way. It was a really, the stuff isn't I don't know, at a certain point you kind of, it starts feeling like it's more just there to pad out the, you being there, as opposed to being something that people just can't go without. You ever seen those refrigerators where they have the drinks on like not a conveyor belt, but it's one of those things where when you pull one out, it slides the next one forward, and you have to put one in there, you have to like bump it back against the other one to like push that one back. They act like they have the most advanced technology, like just. But yeah, it looks like I won't be working there again. Says they won't hire me on full time. They won't give me more than 6 days of work. I probably won't be back. So that means that that one crazy lady that thought I was trying to be her boyfriend because I asked her for her email, uh, who said I'll see you in the office in 2023. It looks like her forecasts turned out incorrect. Dude, that was I still can't get over that. Like you ask somebody, can I have a way to contact you? I really enjoy our conversations. You ask them what their hobbies are, stuff they like to do, right? And then they respond back talking about they're traveling with their boyfriend and his family. Man, I told you, dude, it's like all of these women think that like a bunch of men have these secret shadow campaigns and strategies on how to get with them, and we're all plotting ways to. It's so stupid. She's full of it. Yeah, and like think of how dumb I would have to be if I was actually trying to get with her to ask her for a way in which to communicate with her where my things to her are written, where if I say something inappropriate, she can just screenshot it or show it to a supervisor or some other person above me. That's why I said I don't even care about like making more friends or because like for what? If you try to be friends with a woman, they think you're trying to be their boyfriend. You can ask one of them the most platonic crap ever, and they'll think you're trying to like date them or you have some secret agenda to get with them. It's really sad how big their egos are. Oh, it's very dumb. There was a woman I used to talk to about I'm not joking when I say this. Almost every time we spoke, it was about the news. And out of nowhere, she sent me this big, and we talked about her before. I'm not using her nickname for this instance. Sent me this big warning message about she wasn't looking for anything romantic. And and then she even admitted that I had not said anything that would make her think I was attracted to her. So it's just like a thing she does where she thinks anyone with male private parts has this master plan to get with her. That's why I said, man, I'm tired of them. I'm sick of them. Yeah, yeah. I said the same three letters, the same three three words when I saw that message. Have I tried the post office? Yeah, there was I went to some kind of post office recruiting thing, but they wanted me to because it was downtown or something, so it was like a far drive. They wanted me to fill out the papers at home along with some internet application and go back up there and I just I just thought it was stupid. I don't know, maybe I'll try them again someday. You'll be surprised some of the places I tried and never heard anything back from. The process is rather long, but it's worth it. Well, speaking of long processes, I heard back from this it's like a driving company. They drive different vehicles. And I told the recruiter from there, I was like, "Hey, I've never done this before." And they told me they give you 3 weeks of it's unpaid training, but they cover your tuition costs. And the only way you have to pay for anything is if you quit the schooling before it's over. So, like, if you quit on the second week or on the first week or whatever, then you have to pay the full thing. And I was like, here's a job where they know that people don't know how to do this stuff, so they prep you for it, right? They take you out and they show you how to do it. They pay for you, and I don't know. It just feels like even as someone who's only been driving regularly for about a month now, I probably would feel comfortable with them because they're trying to be accommodating based off of what I see from or hear from them. And I have this other person, this relative, they're like, "Oh, I don't think you should do that. You just start." It's like, yeah, but they have a school. They show you how to do this stuff. And even when you start, they have someone with you. So I don't know. It's weird to me, man. People are always like downsizing and like trying to find a way to be against something. Like that same relative as I've had, I'm not even joking. Out of the last I'll put it this way. They've had a problem with at least two or three other places that I've either worked for or been accepted by or applied to. So they're always finding ways to like have a problem with a different place, you know. They monitor drivers too much and the assign no driving jobs stay clear unless it's your own driving business. Okay, all I'm saying is when they're telling me that they're willing to pay for me to go to a school and learn this stuff, that sounds like a hell of a lot more of a commitment from a company than that other place that I was at last time where they're talking about we're gonna have you work 6 days and then maybe we'll keep forget that. So I'm getting at is I would rather be with a place that sounds like it wants me, even if it might be harsher or have like more strenuous stuff, whatever, than somewhere that's just like, well, maybe we'll bring you on this week or next week. You know, who knows? I'm coming to the see you in for lunch. I mean, I did meet somebody off of the internet one time, and I told her, you know, we can meet in the police station, some other public setting, and it was kind of lame because all she did was sit there and speak and blow smoke in my face because she was you know lighting up her cigarettes. So it was very underwhelming. That's the reason why that was the first and only meeting. Dude, that was like that it was so anticlimactic that like out of all these chicks off the internet and how everybody always says that like you should try finding a partner online. You meet someone and then like the only woman that'll meet you on the internet is trying to have like some platonic crap with you and it was just really underwhelming. I was like, yay, woohoo. Never doing this again. That's why I said next time I try to meet a woman, it's going to be in Vegas. And you know the reason why anybody goes out there to meet one of them. I don't even have to say it. You already know. Man, that's just no. You will never see me try anything with them again after that. That was so lame. But yeah, it's funny because a lot of times I always try to explain that if I too expensive, you know what? You could say that, but at least if it's one of the ones in Vegas, you're gonna get something out of doing it. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like at least if it's one of them, you know they have services, um, and that's it. Like there's none of this wiggle room about when we meet in person. Maybe we'll go see a movie. Maybe we'll hold. You know, it's like they get paid to do something and then they do it, and I like that. There are no middlemans, no if and abouts. Just one specific thing that they do. Well, I told you before, man, that I'm not really interested in any platonic stuff with women because a lot of them just annoy me. Like when I talk to them, and they're kind of like, and I guess maybe that's just I wouldn't even say it's just the thing with them. It's just a lot of them have this thing where when I talk to them, they're just they kind of don't really seem that interested in having a specific discussion about something. So it makes it harder to even really communicate with them. Like they're kind of just very bland and generic. That's why I said a lot of like one of the reasons I never got obsessed with like as an adult with any specific woman is they all start to kind of blend in with each other. Why can't these companies just have some consistency? Well, this is what drives me crazy. I worked for that place for almost 2 months, and they I was told that the manager liked me, the assistant manager liked me. They didn't have any complaints from my recruiter because they could end my assignment the next day if they wanted to. And when you come back to business, instead of saying, "All right, we like you, we want to hire you on full time, you can work with us," we know you know the ropes, right? Instead of just hiring me on full time, they're talking about he can start working tomorrow and then work next week. I'm like, what? So then you can get rid of me and replace me with somebody else? It's weird. Like I don't understand with the logic of that. If you have someone that you claim to like, why don't you hire them? I don't understand that. It's weird. And like I said, man, I'm not about to be told at 3:30 on Thursday to come up to a place and work there with the uniform at 6 in the morning on Friday. I'm not doing that. Like I'd be more open to it if I was still at the other place because it was closer and that's where my like uniform for there was or the stuff they had me wear. But I'm not about to drive all the way over there for that. Also, yeah, I agree with you, Jem. It honestly just isn't worth having any platonic nonsense anyway. I mean, the problem is a lot of chicks believe that if you're a man and you talk to one of them, you're trying to be their boyfriend. So they oftentimes sabotage their exchanges or dialogues with you. Take, for example, I don't know if you remember the dissecting a Dingbats Discord delusion stream I did, but it was about this woman on Discord who I didn't say anything romantic to. I didn't ask out. I didn't say, oh, when I think of you, I feel blue because you're not around me. Why can't you see that we belong together in the cold weather? I didn't say anything like that. And she's like, well, I am not interested in you. Like, what? Yeah, literally. I've never seen that before where you get turned down by someone you didn't even ask out. It's like, what is that? You better believe after I read that garbage, I deleted her right out of my contacts on Discord. I said, "Get this space out of here. I could benefit from having less of them to talk to." I deleted her out of my contacts and got out of her stupid server. It's one of the most weirdest things ever from them. I'm telling you, I still have this. I think I still have the screenshots that I read them on the stream. I just didn't make an edited video because I didn't feel like doing the play by play and having to cut out her name. And I'm good. But sometimes I do an edit video just because, like, I honestly, in instances, can't blame people for not believing this. The types of things that these women do and say and like write, it's so weird. You almost would be forgiven for believing it was made up. But I pledge to you, I have not made this stuff up. That's why I have screenshots of a lot of it. There's some stuff that's so long ago I don't have any proof. You just have to take my word for it. But I mean, like I said, chicks talk about bad experiences with men, and I don't have a problem giving them the benefit of the doubt. So I think it's only fair if I receive that too. She sabotaged interaction between you two. It's her fault. But then again, I guess she can easily find some other guy to mess with. Oh yeah, you know they are. They pump and dump. They go and look for. They throw you out like an empty potato chip bag and jump to the next. Oh, I was really disgusted with her. I said, as many times I sat here and tried to just come and talk to people and have an enjoyable dialogue, and you're going to come here and write this ridiculous message to me about how you're not interested in me that way, and um, you feel as if I like you because I mean, what? It's just stupid, man. And I even said to her, like, what do you think is going to happen here? If I know someone is not interested in me, why would I ask them out? And on top of that, like, how would this even go about happening? Because she's in some foreign country, so I'd have to because the woman can never go see the man. How cheap bastards. But it's like there's no logic to me even being interested in her because she's not accessible in any conceivable way. She's not accessible from the standpoint of can you travel to where she is. She's not accessible from the standpoint of is she even interested in you in the first place. Like I said, after that idiot in Australia that was talking that agreed to marry me and then backflipped after a few days, I was good. Dude, her legacy is literally people being like, why did you believe you should be married or that you were ready? It's because her religion barred us from dating. I don't know how many times I have to explain this. If this is the only one I ever actually tried to go that far with, I feel like it's pretty obvious. That's not like a normal thing I would just do. But whatever. That's her legacy. Every time you mention it, why did you feel as if this woman was ready to marry or that you were ready? It's like it's her religion barred her from dating. What else are you supposed to do? God, these people. And else she was so damn unready. She should have said she should have said no instead of yes, and then reneging a few days later. That's why I said, man, you can't win with this woman crap. It's just I just threw in the towel a long time ago with this stuff. And I mean the whole enchilada, like having debates with people about it in real life or conversations with them. Like, unless it's someone that believes some similar stuff to you, I wouldn't even waste my time because a lot of the ones that still hold out the white flag, the hope sign for them, for the chicks, they have this tendency to like have a problem with you not bothering with them anymore, even though it doesn't affect them. So I really just don't even bother saying anything most of the time. I'm just like, okay, whatever, and that's it. Apparently, oh, you know what? I'm gonna read it on here. Give me a second. Apparently, all chicks have such great and immersive dialogues with that every guy is automatically beneath them and needs to try being engaging with them. Well, that's what I thought was funny. Like when we had the guys analyzing my personality, talking about you're probably boring. It's like you look at some of these women, and I'm telling you, they are dry. And I'm not. It's not all of them, obviously, but like I guess what I don't enjoy because we talked about the double standards, the over analyzing, right? That these people do when they're trying to like find a reason to say that your fatal flaw, whatever. But it's like if you've ever noticed, they act like all the women are these tens out of tens in terms of their appearance, and they're all so captivating and interesting and like again like John McClane from Die Hard, these action heroes who are so like dynamic, and it's like you speak to some of them, and the only reason you're not falling asleep is because you want to go on a date with her. That's like you wouldn't even be talking to her if you weren't attracted to her. You're not attracted to her because she's interesting. Seriously, man. Like I just hate that myth so much. Oh, yeah, I was falling asleep when we were talking to some of them. It's like, yeah, yeah. I don't even bother with them. They're just an aggravating group. And like I said, dude, with the other part of it is like all these faceless people talking trash about the way somebody else looks and then acting like every woman is so breathtakingly beautiful and they're all these amazing, gorgeous. Like I'm that's also really obnoxious. Because like I said, attractive chicks are a dime a dozen. Like just women that I'm like, oh man, she looks nice, whatever. Might maybe look at whatever when I see them. Not hard to come by at all. I was in the market last Sunday and I saw some woman I thought was attractive that worked there. Still didn't say anything because why bother? It's just they want to keep up this fallacy and not face the truth. But like I said, the fallacy is engineered by them taking an entire gender of people and acting like because of their gender they're somehow better than us on average or just they just have this inherent higher value than you, and I don't believe that at all. They are like grains of sand upon the earth. I'm just saying I'm really tired of this fallacy of like the amazing breathtaking woman who's and all of them are so because I remember that we talked about this before how like I purposely don't show any of their pictures ever because we're talking about behavior, right? Like stupid. And somebody you could find someone physically attractive and still think they did something dumb. Um, but it's even worse when you consider that these guys, when they're doing their little fan fiction, they're just imagining all of these chicks are these voluptuous. And it's like, what world do you live in? Like, give me a break. Like I said, that one that was in that She's a 10 stream, I showed her picture to, like, I'm not even joking, 5 or 6 different people, and all of them said she wasn't attractive. It's like, that's why I just wish people would stop doing that. Tell you, the more you think about it, the more infuriating it becomes. They're trying to take an entire gender and hold it up on this pedestal and act like we're not supposed to think that is weird. And like I said, if I came on here and said, if you want to go on a date with a man, you need to go to the gym. You need to become rich. You need to increase your status. I would get laughed at and probably confined to a mental institution in like 10 seconds. But when they start peddling all this woman is above us stuff, people think it's normal. Jem, imagine it coming on here and having and like watching some guy talk about you know what? Let's flip the genders. It's some woman and she makes like videos on how women can attract men, and she's like, well, first you need at least a 6 pack or an 8 pack, and you also need to be rich, even though most rich people don't have muscles, so those already contradict each other. You also need to have uh, status and fame and this amazing car, and you'll be sitting there scratching your head like, are you serious? Because I bet you've probably met in real life some women that don't own anything other than a certain thing that is shaped like a triangle, and for some reason they're getting propped like they're able to get with men just fine. Told you, I knew one who literally had no job, was living rent free with somebody else, and they still had a boyfriend. Just reverse the roles and you'll be able to see the disparity. I'm telling you, man, if you were a fly on the wall for some of the poor, decrepit states I've seen women in and they had partners, you would think you're like living in the twilight zone because you're being told on one hand, do X, Y, Z, do all the letters of the alphabet, and they do almost none of them, and they still are with somebody. Like, I'd hate to show you some of the women I know that do not only don't exercise but are let's just say and again I don't like saying this type of stuff, but I'm talking about, like, the guy is skinny or in shape, but then she is not by a wide margin, that kind of thing. Like, it just gets too ridiculous. I remember when I was a kid, there was this like joke about, oh, if you get a car, you can go and pull up in front of some woman and be like, hey, when we get in there with I've never even bothered, like me having a vehicle is literally just me going from place to place and like trying to get a job or food or some other like thing I need. None of it. I haven't done one thing associated with trying to get a woman because they're so far removed from being any type of priority or desire of mine. I just said forget it. But it's funny because like it's just more of the same old stuff. Oh, she is. I told you, man, if I went on Facebook and I grabbed some of the pictures of these women with their men, you would want to just tear your hair out. You'd be like, really? This is the prosperous, good ending that you guys were talking about, where the guy has to jump through every hoop and the woman is good just because of her gender. Seriously, that's what you find to be a happy ending, dude. I remember I was on Instagram and there's this one woman that she has like I think 20,000 followers or some thousands of followers, right? And I looked at her pictures and I said, because I said before, I think physical attractiveness is really not like an exclusive thing that only a few people have. Like it's just I really do believe it varies from person to person. But I'm just looking at her pictures and I'm like, she's, in shape, I guess, but I don't really find her to be particularly, you know, beautiful or whatever. And I showed her thing to my friend and he said the same thing too. And it was like, man, that's why when I was talking about how people like overvaluing chicks, the reason I brought up actresses was that like Monday is because with a lot of them, yeah, they might get a role because they're attractive, whatever, but then they also have to like actually work and be there on set and emote. And like there's an actual craft associated with their job. There's something they have to do that isn't just look pretty. With a lot of these women, they don't even have to really be that attractive. And it's like as long as they're, I guess, in shape or skinny or whatever, they can just get these guys to like ogle them. And I'm not joking when I say that, like, it's really scary to think that you I don't know, it's one of those things where the more I thought about it, it just became more and more disturbing just how much overvaluing goes into these random women that aren't even like that great. Like it's sad because it really shows you the desperation of men and like again the overvaluing and how this is just going to keep being a thing where these chicks that aren't even really worth anything from the standpoint of having done some kind of accolade that we can attribute to them, based off of their actual accomplishments, are going to just keep getting propped up like they're these gods among men. And I don't like that. They are so lucky I don't show people's pictures. So lucky. And it doesn't help. These platforms also advocate and benefit off from such oh only skanks and Twitch. Well, you know what gets me about Twitch? A website like that will get you in trouble because somebody wrote something in your chat that they thought was lewd or whatever. But then you can have some woman who's doing a stream in a bikini or in some skimpy nurse outfit, whatever, and people will like she won't get in trouble. She'll have people donating and like I just don't understand the logic of that where what you say is more because like it's like this. If I describe what happens during what's the way of calling it? Like if I say what if I define what getting in between the sheets means, it's not the same as me uploading a video where it's me and some woman doing it. So I'm saying that on Twitch, you really do get punished for saying something as opposed to actually doing something. I know I've seen it. I was horrified. Man, it's so sad. Oh, Megumi, by the way, I know you're gonna work on Thursday from 12 to 8, and you're gonna come back up here at 6 in the morning. So by the time you get home, you only get to like actually be up and doing things for maybe like an hour or 2 hours, then you have to go right back. Oh, that was the worst schedule ever. Those constantly changing hours. That Thursday to Friday transition was awful because it really is like you basically just go home to go sleep and then come right back. If there's one thing I won't miss about that job, besides that stupid woman that was acting crazy that one day with her speed obsession, it's definitely that part. I will never miss that. Going to sleep at 8 or 9 o'clock and then having to get up at 6 in the morning when you just got back from work, and I thought that was awful. Um, and like I said, a lot of these other jobs, even if they do the shift schedule changes, they're really not that big. Like come an hour early, hour later, whatever. They want you to go from come at 12 to come at 6, 2 days, like a day apart. I just hated that so much. Let me see what you wrote. I really don't like these kind of work schedules. I mean, yeah, you do need to work, but this is one of those extreme cases that doesn't work in the long run. Well, no, what I was getting at is I don't have a problem with working. I mean, I wouldn't have come up there for the 7 weeks I did if I did. What my issue with them now is that they won't confirm they're going to hire me on permanently or for a longer duration than a week and a what would have been a day with Friday. I didn't go yesterday. Um, and this is very problematic because out of all the jobs I've had, this is the only one where their schedule changes fluctuate so much that you're working like in the afternoon hours Monday through Thursday, and then you have to come up there at 6 in the morning on Friday every single time. And because they won't give you a key, since they won't just hire you on permanently, you're sitting out there in the cold waiting for one of them to open the door, even if you show up on time. Like, I think I remember mentioning that there was a Friday where it was raining. I was standing outside, and the manager and her cohort or whatever didn't come until like 20 or 30 minutes late. And the guy that worked the other part said, it was like, it's well, it's free money. It's like, yeah, but I'm not gonna sit up here in the rain all day waiting for them. I'm not joking when I say if they had taken 30 minutes or an hour, I probably would have just gone back home. Because I'm not going to sit out in the cold rain all day long waiting for these people to show up to their own thing. If they tell you to come at 6, they should also be there at 6. That's the other problem. Like when going there that early and the door was locked and you have to sit out there. Isn't that flexible work schedules? They probably expect you to be flexible with your shifts. Well, no, they have it built in that every Friday you come from 6 to 2. And I was saying that if this with that other job I had, the one where I got where the lady was like, he doesn't have the speed we're looking for, as bad as that place was, since it was 6 to 2 every day, that was something I could get used to. With them, their thing fluctuates Monday through Thursday, um, to where sometimes they tell you to come in at 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 or 1. It's all over the place. And I was trying to say that coming in and getting off in the late afternoon or the early evening and then having to go back up very early in the morning, it's too much because you can't get used to it. Your body can't adjust to having all of these fluctuations in when you're supposed to come up there. No, like think of that. You get off at 8 p.m. and you have to come right back up there at 6 in the morning the next day. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I know this is not a normal thing because the other jobs I had were all fairly, even if you didn't have like a set time you're supposed to come every day, it still is like in like the afternoon period or the morning to afternoon period. It's not, hey, on Thursday, come in at 11 and leave at 8 and then come back tomorrow and get up at 5. Like it's in the morning. Like it's just too much of a hassle. Well, so I don't know who these places think they are. They want you to just jump through every hoop. But yeah, I don't have a problem with being flexible. I have a problem with having one set day that's very early, and then all these days throughout the week that have to have me getting off like late or the afternoon or whatever. It's just not really a schedule I'm a fan of. I just don't want to sit up there all day long. Oh, it's very crazy. But that's why I said I was willing to put up with it if they had just kept me on permanently. But if you're gonna get rid of me after 1 week, there's no point. I see what you mean now. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't like to do that. Doesn't seem like something you'll be able to get used to easily either. Yeah, because Monday through Thursday is fine as far as like the hours fluctuate a bit, and even that's annoying because you don't have like a set time to just get used to, and that can become confusing whether people want to admit it or not. But you come in at like some like early, it's either from 9 to probably 11 or 12, and you leave around 5, 6, 7, 8, some hour toward the, I'm talking about like there that fluctuates, but it's not too big or different from each other to where we can't make accommodations. But when you're talking about getting off relatively late and then coming back up there the next morning every single Friday, and you have to sit out there in the cold waiting for one of the people that actually has a key to let you in, it was too much of a hassle. Like I said, I'll do a lot of stuff for jobs. Um, but again, like we all have our breaking point with these things. I believe like we only can do so much accommodating before we're just like, all right, forget it. I don't want to do this anymore. And really, with me, it's more so the fact that they just won't like hire me on as a permanent person. They want to keep playing this yo-yo thing of switching people out. Like this is what's that Marvel game, Ultimate Alliance, where you can switch between all the different heroes. And the rest of them are waiting in the shield for you to just flip around. I was playing that earlier this week because I never beat the first one. I beat the second one back when it came out, but first one was so hard. They wanted to keep you on a 0 hours contract. Well, I'm a temp to hire, but like when I first started working there, the assistant manager was telling me about how they had this like position that they were going to open up, and if I did really well, they probably would want to get me for it and take this other guy's job that they didn't think was doing the work or whatever. And it seems like they really like having this rotating person thing for some reason. Because I was excited to do that job based off of them giving me a full work schedule, which I liked because I complained before about only getting like part-time garbage. But if they're going to just have me come back for a week and then switch back to somebody else or to another person, like it's just pointless. I'm still laughing at paying for 2 hour parking and only using it for like 20 minutes. They're so lucky I'd never been down there before and I was in a rush. If I'd been down there before, I would have definitely looked for somewhere else to park. I'll walk 5 blocks if I have to. I'm not giving them any more money. I'd sooner give Wikipedia money than give these paid for parking places money. No, they had all kind of begging reels. I noticed they haven't been doing it for the last few weeks, but they were on a rampage. They were talking about if we've given you at least $2.75 worth of knowledge, maybe you can be so kind and give it back. No, forget that. You can get fired over the most stupid thing when it comes to driving, or parking/driving. You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because it was earlier in the stream. It might have been before you came, but me and Jem were talking about how there was this like car company place that I would like driving company, and they were gonna pay for me to go to some kind of like unpaid training for 3 weeks, then I could start after that. Um, and he was telling me like not to do it. I don't like. I'm not saying I will because I'm trying to see what happens with the other place first. But I don't know what these types of jobs are because from the way this one sounded to me, it was accommodating. Like they're going to show you how to do this stuff. But if they're just going to get you over any dumb thing, I don't want to bother because I know that with it was a delivery driver service that I think I mentioned before, where they were talking about how if they record you in the car and if you get a sip of water, it's like it's minus from your points of and I was like, that's ridiculous. You know, people that really lost their mind when they're talking about like you can't drink any water while you're driving for 8 hours. He was like, when I went to the interview, it was one of those, like ones on Zoom. He was like, "This is a hard job, and we've had two people call on the first day in the last 2 weeks, and we do delivering 300 packages every single day. So get ready to sweat." And I was like, out of all the job interviews I've ever gone to, I've never walked away from one of them wanting the job, like not wanting the job anymore. That's the only one where that happened. Where I was like, "No, I don't want this." By the time that guy hung up, I was like, "All right, well, time to go look for something else." People have really lost their minds. Like, I see why people are quitting. They treat employees like trash. Talking about you can't drink, man. If my thing is if you're doing your job and your job is delivering stuff around this whole damn state, one of the hottest in the whole country. I don't care if you're drinking water, Shasta, orange juice, lemonade. Like that shouldn't even be something that bothers them. You're doing the job. Like, damn, man. So I said, like, why can't people have a little bit of humanity? Like, if I have you driving around in some smoking hot vehicle with no air conditioner, you should be able to get some water or some juice or stop for, I don't know, like something to like make this heat wave go away. Like, wow, that's really crazy to me. Talking about you can get extra or money if you work like over to like, I don't care if they're talking about it was like 20 an hour or 18 hours. I don't care if it was 200 an hour. I'm not doing that. So some of these jobs really are just not worth it because they're not accommodating of people in even the most basic ways. Like, okay, you want your 300 packages delivered. I think that's kind of crazy to do all that in one day, but whatever. But you can't get, because you know that with traffic, sometimes it slows the driver down. They can't get around the whole, I'm talking about, like there's unforeseen circumstances when you're driving. Um, but even like besides that, the idea that you would have to, like not be able to drink something while you're cruising around the whole area, that's insane to me. I'm definitely not doing that. So they can have their stupid job and their ridiculous schedule. I'm fine with it. Because like I said, nobody here is gonna go crazy trying to deliver some packages. And some of the stuff they get mad over, like if you don't put the box on the like in the direct place that the person described, you can get in trouble. Or like if they tell you to put on the porch and you put on the step, it starts like a cartoon. Wait, what is it? Oh, yeah, yeah. That was really what his pitch. I was like, I see why two people quit on their first day in the last 2 weeks. I understand. And really, I don't think even if it's their car, I don't think a company should be recording you all day driving around. Like if they can verify that you made all your stops, I don't know why they have to like keep watching you. I don't know. It's just weird. Like at least if you work in like a grocery store or convenience store, if they record you, it makes sense because they have all these products and they don't want somebody to, I guess, steal them or to, like do something crazy with them. Um, which by the way, when I worked at that one retailer last year, I saw at least I was witness to at least 3 or 4 different thefts. And I remember one of them, it was notorious. It was a guy, and he was walking with this like toilet paper or something he was holding in his hand. And I noticed he didn't have a bag, and he was like staring directly outside of the wall. Like it was like he was in a trance. He was like staring directly outside to where the exit was, and he just started running. And the manager was like, "Sir." Too many thieves. It was really weird. For like a whole maybe 20 seconds, he was just sitting there, just staring like in the direction of the of where of like the outs the entrance slash exit was. And I was like, what is he doing? And I noticed he didn't have a bag. And I mean, I was too far to even like do anything. And I wasn't going to, because I'm not going to get in any kind of, I mean, I'm just saying like these, yeah, it's nice working somewhere, but I'm not going to get in any kind of bodily trouble trying to, protect the items of some place that'll throw you away quicker than you can say, damn. He was in the Matrix, like everything just slowed down for him. I see that gem disappeared. I'm very disappointed. I've been so excited for his return, but I guess he had some other things to do. It is the Twilight Zone. Like you're supposed to break your neck for some place that will throw you away quicker than you can go pee. I mean, like that doesn't make any sense for me. So whenever somebody was stealing something, um, I did usually wouldn't notice because they're like I'm in the front, they're all over the store, but I'm not gonna like run after anybody or chase someone down the street or feel it's like some great loss. Because like I said, these places that hire you, they don't care about you. They'll fire you quicker than anything you can think of. So I just said, let whatever let the chips fall where they may, And there were a lot of thefts. I think I remember mentioning that like there was this one lady, and I'll never forget, this is such a good scam. She would come in the store and she'd have on this big visor face mask. You couldn't even see her face. She was hiding it behind this visor. I don't even know how you see out those things, but I saw her at least two different times, and she would buy something and then return it. And I noticed like I never saw her like buy something, just return. And I said to this lady, I was like, I never see her buy anything. And she's like, oh, she's one of these people that buys something, and then when the time to return it is close by, she brings it back. So like she'll buy a can of Febreze, or like some kind of like air freshener type thing, right? And use some of it, and then look on there and see like what's the due date, or like, or like what the expiration time. I think it's like a week or 2 weeks, and then bring it back and return it so she can get all her money back after getting whatever use she got out of it for. I think people are the biggest, like even the ones that aren't stealing things are still doing little shady, weird crap. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna buy some, just buy it. You can do that. How does that work? Well, when you buy an item and it's something like not food, for example, but if it's something like um a hair product, or I mean just any type of like item you would use to like maybe clean your house, or just something that has to do with cleaning, or something that is long purpose use, you can take it and return it by a certain point. You'll get all your money back. I saw some lady return some lipstick one time, and she was talking about how hot it was. I don't know how that works, but I've never tried any of it myself, so I can only take a word for it. um, but you get my point that like they can return stuff. It's just weird to see the same person returning things over and over after using it for a while. That's what I said. I was like, how does lipstick? Because like I think don't they just like put it on and that's it? Like I've never heard that before, where you put it on, it burns you, like it's hot sauce laced or something. This lipstick is too spicy. But that one particular lady was really slick, because every time there's like an item that she's almost done with using, and she makes sure to use most of it in like the period because you can't bring some back like a year later. So she would use it up to whatever amount was left in there, and then return it and get her money back, and then come back, buy the same thing or buy something else, and use that for a while, and then I tell you, man, people are just crooks. Like, even when they don't steal stuff, they're always trying to find some shady way to get out of doing something. But it's useful. How could they resell this lipstick? I don't dude. I've never heard of that before. Where lipstick burns your lips when you put it on. They used it that used it and return lady was oh absolutely. And like I said, I always remember because she had this giant face shield mask. You couldn't see her face other than she looked like a literal like anime or movie villain because you couldn't even see her face outside that little like piece of it on the side that was like I'm talking about where like where she would turn and you would see like a little part sticking out. Like in fiction, they have like the villains that are shrouded in shadows and in the dark, and like it's supposed to be like scary and ominous or whatever. That's what she looked like with that mask, where like you couldn't even see. she but that's the same one. It's always returning stuff, and she's trying to rush you. She's like, I gotta catch my bus. I got this meeting. Can you hurry up and do this? That's another tactic they have where they're like trying to get you to expedite doing something for them because they have somewhere else to go. Like they're in the biggest rush ever. I don't know about here at the last minute, but because I plan on going for at least another 40 minutes, but that's so scummy. But another thing they would do, and like I said, it was so fun working there because there's all these different crazy characters. Um, is that they would like some of them will do this thing where they'll have like an item that's broken that they used before, and they'll take a new version of like I'll give you an example. Let's say I buy I don't know, hairspray, and the hairspray has mostly been used up. Like it's there's only a little bit still left in there, right? They take something they already have, like this hairspray, the hairspray that's used, and they put it on the shelf in place of something that is new, which is the hairspray that has been used, and they put it in their bag and they run out the store, or they like try to leave, or and then or one of them did something really slick. They ripped something off of one of the I think it was one of the those little stands where they have like the little metal part they hang off of, and then they said they're returning this other thing so that they could leave the store. They could make it look like they were leaving the store and paying for something, even though they didn't pay for the other thing. Yeah, they take an item that they've already used and they bring it back to the place and stick it where the new one is, and take the new one with them and put it in like a bag or hide it somewhere. And then they hope that we just didn't see them. I told you, man. February of last year was crazy. It was probably before I got like terminated. It might have been the funnest month of that year because like there were so many weird things happening in that store. Wouldn't they be caught eventually by looking at the CCTV or something? How can people get away with stuff? I'm glad you asked. Well, see, again, understand my perspective. I'm sitting in the front, not sitting, but like I'm in the front of the store as the cashier, so I can't see what's happening in all these different aisles. So when this lady comes up and says, "Oh, I'm returning this thing. Maybe I bought it like a month ago. I don't have my receipt." I'm gonna take their word for it because I don't know that they're hiding something that they stole in their bag. And sure enough, after that person left, the like I guess the assistant manager or someone that was like hired to me was like, "Oh, I watched her on the camera and she stole this other thing." So this is what they do. They have these little sleazy, slick tactics that they only are able to actually work with in the confines of just theft because you'll have someone like myself who's again in the front and can't see any of this happening, and just remember what that old saying, right? The customer is always right. You remember that saying, right? So when they steal stuff, don't be caught off guard. Don't think, what is this? Just go with the flow. Let me stick this on top of here. There we go. Seriously, like I was very reluctant to question or ever be like kind of combative or like they say, hey, maybe this isn't the way you describe it, because you're told as an employee that the customer is always right. So if they come up here and say, oh, I'm returning this thing that doesn't work anymore, even though it actually does, I just want to get a new one, and get my money back as well. Um, you just go along with it. And the few times where people don't go along with it, the customer gets angry and loses their mind. I mean, you might have forgotten Megumi. I didn't forget because I thought it was funny. The one guy that was trying to return some alcohol and I couldn't. The machine wouldn't let me return it, so I asked one of my coworkers. They asked the manager, and sure enough, it's the manager standing in front of me and this coworker telling this guy, "We can't bring your alcohol. Return it for you. The price." He's like, I know you can. I've seen it." And then he's like, I bet I can pull more money out of my wallet than you making a expletive year. Just really combative. And she keeps saying, I can't give you, like, I can't return this for you. And he's like, you know what? Why don't I take this alcohol and throw it right against the wall? And then like as he's leaving, he grabs it and like positions as if he's about to throw it against. Like all that happened for me just trying to give him his money back. I didn't even know like even the person that was above me that had been working there for like a year didn't know either. Dude, I'll never forget that because I really thought he was gonna he was gonna slam. It's like I can't. If I can't return it, I guess I'll just plaster it on the wall, just throw it against the. Like it was so weird how angry he got over us not being able to give him his money for his stupid drink. Like, if you didn't want to use it, don't buy it. It's interesting. Outside of Amazon, and usually I only return some there if it's like a article of clothing and it's too small, and I can't try it on before I get it, so that's gonna happen. But outside of Amazon, I usually never return stuff. Um, and again, that's only if it's closed, if it's too small, they send me the wrong item. So it's interesting that these people like when they're trying to return stuff, they start going crazy. And I remember that one insane lady that got mad at me because she wanted to write a check, which I'm just gonna put like this: out of the whole time I was there, it was her and like one other person that wrote checks. Everybody else was a credit card, cash, whatever. Um, she wanted to write a check, and the machine froze when the check went in there. The machine froze, error with the machine. Then out of nowhere, she gets mad at me, starts breathing all hard, slamming her items against the counter, talking about I need to go back to school if I can't, and it was so bad that someone in the line like apologized on her behalf and said that that was like really uncalled for. And I just sat there taking up the items, not saying a word, getting called every name out the book over the machine not working. I'm not a technician, so I have no control over that. But hey, there's a reason why I did to stream the most blame man of all time. So make of that what you will. Just slamming the items against the counter. Let me give you an example. I guess I could use the thermos, like just like this, like just slamming them against there. And it's like, who you're this angry because somebody what a machine like you're mad at me because a device isn't working and we're gonna calibrate your items. Like, jeez, I don't know, man. It's just people really act crazy in these stores. That's one of the things I don't miss about that place. When you had those really nasty encounters with customers. That's literally total comedy. I mean, I would have laughed if it weren't for just like how quick it was. Like she was calm when I was taking the stuff up, then the machine stops working or freezes, whatever. So I have to take the items out on another machine because there's like four of them. And then she just started like calling me out my name and slamming her stuff against the counter and like muttering curse words to herself. It was weird. I was like, you're this angry over at me over the device not working. And I just sat there and put up with it. I didn't say one word back. Oh man, these places they'll never know what you sacrifice to work for them with rude customers, thieves, you know, con artists like that lady returning something every time it's about to go bad or whatever. Just it's so much stuff. Unhinged people as well, taking their frustration out on the staff. Typical, but hey, the customer is always right. So, and the sad part is because of that stupid doctrine of the customer always being right. They were susceptible to getting stuff stolen because when that lady was telling me about how she didn't have the receipt and she didn't know when she bought this, I was like, this is sounding kind of weird. Like, she's not really a good actress. I'll put it that way. So if I knew to be, to kind of like, because when you're trying to, be, how do I put this? When you don't want to have a problem with customers, you're kind of the French, you kind of defer to them. You don't, you're kind of like timid in the way you react to them. Like you don't want to be confrontational. But if they allowed me to, if the customer was always right as a doctrine just wasn't a thing, there's a very good chance I would have been a lot more combative and like stalled for time for that lady to come and confront her or like close the store with like get the cops in there. I think know what I'm talking about. Where like because of the way that the customer employee relationship is structured by them, it puts me in a position of lacking strength where I can't really be forceful and like pushy when it comes to like, hey, I don't think you're telling the truth, that type of thing. I'm just saying, like, I don't take joy in being an accessory to people stealing stuff. But if you're gonna tell me I can never question the customer and they're gonna sit there and write nasty reviews about me and the higher ups are gonna then let them steal the stuff. I don't care. Yeah, the amount of stuff these people get away with is insane. I know what you mean. They exploit that doctrine. Jem says F. Jem, you've been using that F letter a lot during this stream. And I just have to tell you, we're trying to be family friendly. We're trying not to say any bad words so we don't get demonetized and have our, 5 cents taken away from us this week. So you're gonna have to speak in a more nicer, calmer, gentler uh tone than as you previously depicted over the last hour. Let them steal the stuff. I don't care. So try. I mean, think about it. Like they have no problem kicking you out, right? Just getting rid of you, firing you after a couple of days, like just throwing you out, the baby with the bathwater. So why should you care if their stuff gets stolen? Why? Like I said, I don't endorse people committing criminal acts. But as far as like, oh my God, man, these people they took our stuff and they were stealing things and they ran down the street with, whatever to me. You got me on the chopping block and you want to treat me like trash. I figured, your store should, you guys losing some items isn't going to hurt anybody. I'm not going to shed one tear for that place because the way I was treated by those higher ups, I don't care if people came in there and stole every item. And they do steal every item. They had like a whole if I remember correctly, it was like baby formula and what was some other stuff that was behind the counter. Just things that like people you'd be like, wow, people really steal this? I think Tylenol was back there too, whatever that headache medicine is. Again, maybe I'm getting the term wrong, but they're like you know what I'm saying? Like there was a whole assortment of stuff that people were just taking. Lighters for cigarettes were back there. I mean, like I said, people have been just shoplifting left and right to where they get sick of it. At one point or another, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up making the whole store to where everything is just, unless it's maybe like food just locked behind some kind of counter. Baby formula, I would just give it to them. You know what's so sad about people still in the formula to me though? We had this conversation last I think it was on Monday, right? About, and maybe it wasn't Monday, maybe it's been before, but like how when you have a kid or a living thing, you have to be able to make sure you can provide for it, you can take care of it. When you have to steal baby formula, that means you've had a child that you are so unequipped to actually provide for that an essential thing that you know they need, you have to go out and shoplift to get. And that's really pathetic. Like that says everything bad about you and your inability to actually be there for your child in the way you should be. No, really, like if you think about that's really disturbing to think about that there's some sick bastard out there, whether it's a guy or a woman who popped out a kid or who was involved with creating some kid, and they are so destitute after making this kid that they have to steal baby formula. That's really sad. And that just tells you there's another kid in this world that has some crappy parent that can't take care of it the way it should be. That's why I said, man, it's just when you really just sit there and think about certain things, they have like implications that are all the more tragic and depressing. Like of all the stuff that they stole, and they stole it enough times for them to be like, all right, forget having this outside. You got to come behind the counter. And it's not even. I've seen that at other stores too, where they have baby formula and it's behind the counter because people kept stealing it over and over and over again. That's why I said, man, like trying to have a kid in this era with all these people and these chicks that aren't worth anything and they don't care about anybody but themselves and they'll put you on child support faster you can say damn. It's all just bad. It's too rotten, you know. That's why I said I'm nostalgic for a time where people who had children actually wanted to take care of them and prepared for them in ways that were um toward the benefit of all three parties, both the mother, the dad, and the kid, instead of just, you know, blindly having unprotected relations, and then it's just sad, man. Oh, I know they do. I remember. I didn't see. I only didn't say the word because I didn't want. Like I don't know what. Man, YouTube will demonetize you over saying like the name of certain countries. So I just didn't want to get demonetized. But there was a couple that came there one day, and they were like some high school kids, whatever. I mean, hey, he's getting more than I did back then. But I said, all right, well, go to the counter, and I'll call someone to open the thing for you because they were like, oh, we wanted to get some of these, but it was locked. I was like, all right, whatever. It is kind of funny seeing like the male and the female together as they're going to get this thing that will like increase the chances by 80% of her not getting pregnant. Like it's just funny to like see them because you know how like if I were to order some of those on the computer or go somewhere just by myself, right? They don't people they know I want to use them, but they don't know what it's like. They don't actually see who it's for or have any like idea of when that could be. It could just be something I just keep with me. Um, but it's really comedic that like you actually get to see the couple, like you get to see the boy and his stupid, I guess, girlfriend or whatever, and like and, like they're dumb, but they're not that dumb. I'll give them that. No, I used to carry those when I was in like 10th grade, 11th grade. In my wallet, and I just said forget it. I'm not even joking. Like the chick stuff became so predictable that I don't like. I know I don't need to carry protection because it's not happening. So it's like whatever. Just I don't need to keep hauling this around with me. So I said it's just so sad. Oh, these stores and their crazy people. I don't know. I'm always kind of saddened when I think about like all the things you put up with just to have always have fun. No, man, I don't fall for that stuff at all anymore. If you see how hard it is to just get one of these women to talk to you for like 5 seconds, I wouldn't even bother. I think I told you that one time I went to this mall and I was like going back home on an Uber. Again, this is before the pandemic, and I was sitting in the back seat with this lady, and I was like, "Oh, um, do you want my number?" And she said no, but thanks for asking. I was just thinking to myself how like I felt worse asking than if I had not, because it's like I know my like pattern, and I felt bad about like even thinking there was even a purpose or I was gonna get any result other than the same old crap. Not to mention I didn't even think she was that whatever, like we whatever. I already talked about before. Everybody holds up anyone with the triangle as like the next coming of Christ. So I'm not even gonna bother talking about how unattractive she was, because I already know people are just going to convince themselves that they're all tens out of tens and they're all so breathtakingly beautiful, and how dare I, the peon, even it's I don't even bother. Whatever, let them believe what they want. I was thinking of going to the market again today. I don't know. It's hard to like even want to talk to chicks at all. Like it's just not something I find enjoyable anymore. Honestly, it never hurts to ask. Well, for me, it did, because like you're sitting in this car ride with this lady, and her saying no to that has now made you feel like awkward because you have to still keep sitting here with this person that just turned you down. So I would have preferred if I had just not said anything. And like I said, man, at a certain point, you got to catch on to the pattern. Like if it's the same thing over and over, you're not crazy for thinking the next time it's probably going to be another no. That's why I said a lot of these people online will try to like hype you up and make you think, oh, if you just keep trying. But we know the truth. We've seen it. It's always the faceless people who are like, if you just keep trying and preaching the gospel of the magic woman. I received so many no's. We've seen this same scenario play out multiple times. Yeah, that's why I said I felt bad, because I thought to myself, I should already know this is what they do. To continue on would become self parody. Yeah, like I said, the first time I ever got turned down when I was 13, I was sad, depressed. Girl I knew for 5 years, was friends with, classmate of mine. I'd been with, known for still to this day longer than anybody I've ever asked out since. Like, wow, I can't believe this. Second time I was in 8th grade, some girl that had a boyfriend, so it wasn't as like surprising, whatever. Third time, ninth grade, some new woman I met didn't even give me her number, so I already knew she didn't like me in a platonic way either. Um, 10th grade, somewhat, but then when you get to like 11th, 12th, it just became a joke, man. Like going online, speaking to all these different women, asking them what they like, you tell them what you like, and it just never ended. It never progressed. And like at the same time, you watch that stupid other person we talk about, Dingbat with the baby. She meets one guy in like 10th grade, stays with him year after year because he doesn't want to leave her no matter how bad she treats him, benefits from him financially, has his kid, and he stays with her even after she puts him in behind bars. So like that's why I said it's literally the twilight zone. And anyone who tells you that if you're not like that, if you're that women don't have an overwhelming inherent advantage is a liar. That was crazy as hell. It'd be easier for Megumi to show me the planets aligning on the night of a blue moon than to show me some video of a woman talking about how hard it was to get dates for year after year after year. Like it's easy for them. And it's not because they're better than you or me, or they're famous, or they own anything, or they've done some major. No, it's just their gender. That's it. When I was 17, I asked out a 40-something-year-old woman at takeout, and she said, yes, she took care of me for 6 months, but I had to perform. You know what? That still sounds better than because I said before that, like, what is the utility of these women? Like, what do you benefit from when you're with one of them? And no one can give me any answers. It's just you're supposed to do this, that, and the other for them, and then you're just somehow benefited by them being in your life, even though they're doing nothing. So at least with that one, she actually did something for you. So yeah, I can't name a single thing any of them have done besides run their mouths. This is the full extent of their utility to me. Just blah 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 blah. Like shut up. Flapping their gums. Yep. Just that's the yes, very rare. I'll put it to you like this: I'd rather be with the 40-year-old that can actually help me. I'm not even someone that wants to be like taken care of, but like because I said before that apartments in my state cost a lot. So if I met some woman that's like 10 years older than me and she wants to work with me to pay rent every month, I'll take that over some woman that you're supposed to go out and buy her clothes and outfits and like like I'll well, again one is providing a utility, the other one is providing nothing except a way to drain your resources. Seriously, man, like I'm not even like some supposed cougar chaser or whatever term you want to use for it, but if you meet one of them who is older and provides you something, they're better than one that just flaps their gums. And like I said, you don't even have to be like you could meet a woman that's like the same age as you and they are willing to assist you with paying for rent or you guys move in together and pay somewhere. Like that's what I'm saying that like there's so many things they can do and they just don't because they feel like everything is just handed to them and they don't have to. So that's why I said to hell with it. She was a lawyer. She really needed someone and I was there. I told you when I was still in college, like I got picked up by this Uber driver, and they said every time they picked somebody up from that school I was going to that was a female, they were always majoring in psychology. And I was like, if that doesn't tell you how generic women are, I don't know what else will. Like you got all these majors, and he picks up, and as a driver, he's picking up a whole bunch of people. It's like they're all and you should have heard the tone of his voice. Like he was shocked that they're all the same, like just over and over, same thing. He was like, they all major in the same. I was like, oh, psychology, Psychology. The effort and care needs to be done on both parties. There can't be any imbalance, platonic or romantic. Period. Exactly. Again, if it was about actual fairness, you would see women asking out men. You would see women buying things for men, just like men buy things for women all the time. You don't see that. I saw this one Twitter post. I think it went viral. It was like women buy things for men, but we don't brag about it or talk about it. And I was just sitting there laughing to myself. I was like, yeah, on what planet, in what alternate reality do you live in? And what's that? What's the Marvel universe called? 616. They're on 617 or 719 or 739. Like that's where that universe is. Not in this continuity do women buy things for men anywhere near as much as the other way around. Not you'll never get me to believe that. Exactly. Generic major. I told you that I guess I just wish people were honest about the imbalance. Like at least if they were aware of what they are, instead of trying to make this like big pretend that it's not so one-sided. Because you have men that like if I talk to them in real life, they'll still try to convince me it's not too late and you can ask out. And it's like, guys, it's been the same stupid thing every year. And I just don't have time to sit on all these dating websites and travel to all these other cities and states and countries. It's not worth it, man. It's just a giant waste of money and time. And I'm not interested in that. It's just a huge disparity. It's too one-sided. There are plenty of chicks that receive stuff from guys that don't even ask for them. Yeah. Like I give an example. Well, just an example of like stuff that I'll do. My best friend wanted to like go somewhere, and I offered to like pick him up on this was last Saturday after I did my stream. Um, and it was raining like crazy. I mean, I wish I could have taken my camera out. It was raining so bad to where my whole screen was like I could only make out the bare figures of cars. It was awful. But I still went out there and did it for him because that's someone that has been by my side for years, who I have a good dialogue with. Um, who again like I actually enjoy being around, and they don't like try to take advantage of me. They driven me places before as well. So it's one of those things where it's like a mutual, admiration, I guess. Um Also had a girlfriend in college that worked at American Eagle. I made sure to keep that relationship going as long as I could. She brought me tons of clothes. So much I started to sell clothes basic. She brought me an outfit every other day. Oh man. I'm not questioning the validity of your recollections. I'm just thinking about how like you would really like if you look at this from my perspective of just seeing chicks being used as ammo to attack you and seeing them um like just keep saying no over like and it just never progresses. That's why to me hearing this sounds like something out of an alternate, even if it did happen. I don't dispute that it did. It's just like wow, the disparity, like just how different our experiences with them were. But I guess, I'm just the byproduct of when you really get next to nothing and, you get all this antagonism for just walking away from it. You certainly won't be seeing the overwhelming majority of chicks doing anything remotely like that for guys or their supposed partners. A keyword supposed partners. Because like I said, that dingbat with the baby, I'll never forget the day I went to the mall. And by just pure happenstance, I walked I was like on the I was like on the top floor, and I saw her on the elevator all hugged up with some other guy. He had his arm around her. She had her arm around, and I was like, that's not her boyfriend. And then probably and I didn't say anything to because I'm not involved with any of her BS. I try to stay away from her. Maybe like 2 or 3 days later, I received a call from my from someone else like saying, "Oh, the actual boyfriend got into it with her over her cheating on." It's like, wow. So by just pure happenstance, I saw the crumb of some that blew up a few days later. You know? Oh man, it's really sad. Like I said, I was lucky. Dude, that whole thing just exploded a couple days later, and I'll never get over the humor of seeing it like go from okay, there's this weird thing she's doing with this guy, but whatever, to oh my god, wow, like just within a couple of days, it went from me seeing a little glimpse of what I thought was just her being weird and too touchy feely with this other man to wow, that was the seed, that was a breadcrumb for something else. You see something like that, what Jem mentioned is normal. This is a normal activity someone who's involved in a relationship would do for their partner. Now, because of this crazy Twilight Zone stuff, it's something of an enigma or unheard of slash out of this world. Truly sad. And it's even worse because if you flip the genders around, people expect you to do this stuff. I mean, if you have, if I worked at American Eagle and I'm getting some woman different stuff every time I leave from there, whatever, people think it's normal. But if you flip the genders around, right? She doesn't owe you anything. They go into that kind of mindset, and it's like I just want fairness. It's really sad that people are like this. Just in terms of their mindset and the way that they perceive things, and just their general attitude and demeanors. It's really really pathetic. Oh man. Should we have a part three of our discussion on the disparity of clothing options between genders as well? Because I did think that topic was interesting, just because you never really. I guess the way I look at it is you don't really hear like men talk about that. Like you'll have women talk about clothes all the time, but just like not even just from perspective of what looks nice, but just like how many more options they have compared to men. No fairness when it comes to this, and it's a damn shame on how relationships have deteriorated to this. It is a shame, and it's something that people are going to keep playing into with social media and these other agitator factors. Like the websites and things of that nature. Just like places that make it easy for 10 or 20 guys to surround some woman. That's going to keep on making it drag out and stay this way. One of the things I wanted to mention is that um I was just thinking of this scenario because I just find these discussions interesting because of how little they actually occur. So sometimes I've seen women in professional settings, and they'll have either how I explain it. So like with a guy, you have a suit, it's a tie, the dress shirt, dress pants, the dress shoes. And what's interesting is that you'll have a woman, and she in a professional setting, she can wear just a gown, like a dress, right? Or she can have on a suit with a skirt or a suit with pants. And I was thinking, okay, well, like that's already three different options they have there. But then it doesn't stop there because I noticed that from what I've seen, most formal shoes for men kind of look exactly the same. It's like that Oxford look. It's a really, in my opinion, generic dress shoe. And what I noticed is that for a lot of these women, that they can wear dress shoes, heels. I mean, like if you start going down the individual options they have for like a formal shoe choice compared to like the one that men have just normally, it's even more like going into that level of disparity is what I'm conveying to you. Because a lot of times with some shoes that men have, I don't like I'm fine with shoelaces, but some of this stuff is like really biting at my foot. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of it's like like I don't want to say it crushes it, but it's like really hugged up against it. So with them, they feel it's interesting that they have like even more options with when it comes to like formal shoes than and men only have like really just one. Let me see. Dude, yeah, I definitely understand what you mean there. They honestly have a lot of options when it comes to formal clothing. I'm serious. Like I've actually seen like we were talking about like formal events, all the guys pretty much wearing the exact same thing, which is again the blazer and the suit and the pants, whatever, and dress shoes. And the only variations might be like major variations are probably just the tie. Like you're either wearing a white shirt or blue shirt, maybe the blazer is black or blue, but generally speaking, the only real major deviation tends to be the ties. Some of them wear red ties, yellow ties, blue ties, yeah, blue or gray suit or black. But then with women, like they come to an office place and they can have on some suit, like let's say it's a pantsuit, right? That thing could be red, yellow, orange. I know I just reverse colors, green, blue, purple, or if they wear a dress, for example, that thing could be any color of the rainbow. And I'm like, and it's not even just that, because like remember, they have different shoes that can match as well. So I'm like, when you think about it, their formality is so like even in like being constricted to you have to wear professional attire, formal attire, whatever you want to call it. Even when it's just constricted to that, the stuff they get to wear is so much more expressive than men. It's even more interesting that when you think about like just from the standpoint of you'll see all these guys and they're wearing pretty much the exact same dress shoe. And I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go too much into details with or put pictures up. You know what I'm talking about. And with them, they have like um again like high heels. If they want to wear some dress shoe as well, like there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like you can probably think of three or four different styles of, so I've even seen some in professional settings wear open-toed heels, like where you can see their, toenails, for example. Dude, I can't remember the last time I wore some open-toed shoes. That's a really hard thing for me to remember. I think when I was a kid, I wore some sandals. If you're around some of these chicks long enough, you would think you're in a live action version of Naruto with all like some of them love showing off those toenails and the different colors they have them painted. Million options for women. Laugh my just with shoe types. Men don't even wear black suits anymore since it's associated with funerals. Hey, Euro, you weren't here for that original discussion, but you understand with women, like even if you're just looking at shoes, sometimes they'll wear like a slipper or some pumps. And then even the pumps sometimes aren't even pumps because they'll have like the open toed parts. That's already like three different options there. Or they'll wear like a version of what the men wear, which is like that Oxford shoe. Like you you really could have like one option for men to wear, and they'll have like 10 or 20 of them. Yeah, shoe types as well. They can even wear men in this complete. Well, we talked about that disparity of how like if you're like a woman can put on anything a man can put on, and like nobody will think it's weird. Nobody will say, "Why are you wearing men's clothing?" But if a man wears any article of female clothing, people will lose their minds and it will be the end of the world and the sun will come crashing down and rest in peace the earth. Women will have a closet just with shoes. Well, that's why for me it's always been such a joke to like as a man, I've never cared much about fashion, especially like the older and older I got because I just kept noticing that it seems like we're a gender where we don't really have even the stuff that we supposedly express ourselves with when you really think about it compared to women is extremely limited. Like look at shirts. You have some that have long sleeves, short sleeves, no sleeves, and that's kind of it, you know? Like, yeah, some have collars, some don't, some button up, some don't, but that like there's it's really not that big of stuff. Like it's just kind of whatever, you know? Um, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with pants where you got pants, shorts, and then the only other variation is like the different colors. So any way you look at it, we're kind of I don't know. I've always treated like the people that are obsessed with clothes and they start talking about like a man's wearing as kind of like a joke because we don't really have that many options. And I've been over this before. We don't really have that many options compared to women. Like they have a lot more they can pick from and a lot more choices to make. And in general, it just makes from the customization abilities that they have as a result of all the different clothing that are tailor made toward them. It makes a lot more sense that they would sit there and wonder what to put on. Whereas, if you're a guy and you got something you like wearing that's comfortable, I don't know why you don't just put that on and that's the end of it. I really do find this topic very interesting. Honestly, never heard this discussed anywhere else before. Well, what gets me about it is that, and I'm very serious when I say I part of my reason for seeing the clothing thing as just like a big joke when people start talking about, oh, you should wear this, wear that, is because we really don't have that many like alternatives or options. And when you compare what we have to what women have, it's like if we're a 10%, they're like a 200%. Their options include ours and then some. And it just extends and continues and furthers and furthers. And there is no societal stigma around them wearing the stuff that we have. Like I said, one of them could come to my place, grab one of my shirts, put on some of my pants. They might need a belt because they're probably too big for them. And that would be it. That would be it. Nobody would care. Nobody would say, why are you wearing this? Look at them weird. And they shouldn't. Um, but I'm just saying it's really ironic that we've become and that's why I said like we're so accommodating of them, and everything we do it seems to be based around pigeonholing men even further. Because that's why I brought up when they're talking about formal attire, you already know you're going to wear a suit with a tie and some dress shoes, and that's pretty much it. And the only variation might be again the color. But with them, they have all of these various options that are just all over the place, and they're very distinct from each other. Like I said, you tell 12 men to go to an event, formal event, all of them are wearing suits, and the only difference might be the color. You tell 12 women to go to an event, some of them will wear dresses, suits with skirts, pantsuits. I mean, the variations you see them in every instance where they're allowed to even if it's something where it's a restriction like gotta wear formal stuff, even something like that they still will have like way more options than us even with the same restrictions. Light color suits are only acceptable at weddings, though I would like to break that rule. And think of how sad that is. Like you can't even wear like I said before my favorite color is red. I couldn't even wear a red suit, even though it's literally the exact same thing as a black or blue one, and the only difference or variation is the color. You would see people mad at me, or like I guess thinking I'm like not being professional just from the color. But if a woman comes and she wears a red dress or a burgundy one, as you just said in the comment section, not a big deal. I just no one else gets the insanity of that. They're like, our clothing options are so restrictive that not only do we basically just have this one thing we can wear, but there's even like shaming of what color you get it in. Whereas with them, they can wear anything they want in any color and it's formal. I mean, I don't understand the logic of that. Yeah, the disparity is on a whole other level. Like, think about this. You're male, Megumi, right? And let's pretend I don't know if you have a sister, but like, let's pretend you have a sister. You're male, you can only wear a suit and it can only be black, blue, or gray or whatever, like one of these three colors. But then your sister can wear a suit or a suit with pants, suit with a skirt, dress. She can wear Oxford shoes, pumps, slipper. I mean, anything. Heck, she doesn't even have to because with the suits, they want you to like wear the blazer because it matches the pants. Like she doesn't even have to wear if she doesn't want to an actual like jacket or like top part on top of whatever she had. Like if she wears a dress, she can just go with a sleeveless one and that's it. And like she doesn't have to put anything on top of that either. So that's why I said if you really think about it, then and like the nuances of things, the disparity gets even bigger because their customization even when it's restricted, still has these like this wiggle room for more individualism than we ever will have or ever have had, rather. Dude, I can't get over going to the interview yesterday and they said come in professional attire. And I came there and I saw the lady that was interviewing me and she had sneakers on, which I did too. But I was just thinking to myself, like, did you guys really want me to come in a suit? Because I don't know, every position I've had up to this point has let me wear, you know, non I mean, like I said, I'm not working in the office. Man, the disparity it reaches new levels every year. You will never not see the disparity. It's going to keep just reminding you and smacking you in the face when you think it's gone. Because, like I said, we have like I'm not joking when I tell you I have people in real life that will like try to tell me about some shirt or some pants or something, and I'm just sitting there like, guys, like, come on, this has got to be a joke. Because I already said before that like when I'm worried about real life stuff, like how I'm going to eat, if I'm going to have a job, clothes are really the last thing on my mind. But even if it wasn't, like, there's so much more stuff you can worry about, and again, when you consider your gender and how limited your options already are, it becomes even more of a joke version of a discussion. By the way, Euro, would you believe me if I told you that if you had some kid you couldn't afford, you would have more people upset with you if you wore a skirt like for wearing that than for not taking care of your kid. Like you would see more people noticing and reacting negatively than like not actually being there for your child. I told you, man, this is one world where all the priorities are so mixed up. Though I would not. No, I'm not saying you would. I'm just saying. Listen, I've said this before. You don't have to be someone that wants to wear women's clothing to acknowledge that they have way more options than we have when it comes to what society allows them to go out in public with. I'm simply stating to you that there is a disparity that is so rancid that you'll get in more trouble over not adhering to it than to actually doing something that has to do with a person's well-being. I get it. I was joking. I know. I'm just saying. Like, I'm not trying to. Like, if they ever made it to where men can wear women's stuff, it doesn't mean you have to wear it. I'm just telling you that it's one of those things just that's worth acknowledging because it really does tie into this idea of what a man is supposed to be and like toxic masculinity and like getting caught up in all this stuff that doesn't matter. Like if someone goes and works a job and takes care of themselves and doesn't break the law and just kind of, is just like a productive member of society, why are we trying to like persecute them because they wore, I don't know, uh, a pearl necklace? Like it's just it's weird, you know what I mean? Man, I remember what's another good example of something where they have a whole bunch of options? But that color thing is really crazy to me because I'm telling you, I've been in some offices, not like as an employee, obviously, but just like I've been there before and I've seen so much. What is your take on designer brands? Well, to me, they're a waste of money because a lot of stuff they make you can pretty much get from somewhere else without their name on it. But hey, if people want to you know, be stupid and spend more money on the same outfit, but with someone's dumb name on there, then I guess they'll do what they want to do. It's not something I would though, because I remember I was trying to get a what was it, a Playboy jacket because I like the look of it. It's like a camouflage fatigue looking jacket, and they were selling that thing for like $100, $200. Like that little piece of crap for that much? No, I'm good. So, like I said, designer brands, you're not going to see me bother with because a lot of the stuff they sell the price doesn't justify it. You can get something that's just as good from somewhere else, much cheaper. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars on clothes. Like, you're just not seeing me do that. You will not see me do that in any capacity. That is a misconception though that like people think if you advocate for men to be able to wear women's things, you're like trying to get all men to do it or some kind of crazy thing. It's like, no, you wear what you want to wear. All I'm asking for is real equality. It's like you can't sit here and talk about feminism and women should be equal to men, but then they have 900 outfits compared to like the 10 or 11 that we have. It's just it doesn't register to me. When I say 900, I'm exaggerating, but you get the point that like I'm not trying to tell anybody what to wear. In fact, I've actually said before I really couldn't care less. I'm just stating that I wish the same logic could be applied for one gender as the other if you're calling yourself being fair. I remember when I was in I think ninth or 10th grade, they had prom. I didn't go, but I just saw some of the pictures of it because people, these kids put everything on social media. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, wow, all the guys wear these black suits, but then the chicks have these different dresses, and some of them are strapless, and some of them are, with straps, and some are short, and some are long, and and some wear tiaras. I mean, it's I just like the variety of it, like just being able to see that. And I'm like, well, it would be nice if the men could, also, you know, have some variety too, but I guess I'm crazy. I remember back in the day, it was something you'd make fun of in school if you didn't wear designer stuff or the expensive school shoes. Oh yeah, they kids make fun of each other over anything. Like I went to schools with uniforms, and kids would make fun of someone if they had like on a like their shoes or their shirt or something. And it was so weird because it's like everyone is basically wearing the same thing, and the little tiny bits of customization that we have. you make fun of. So I said people are so weird. They'll look for anything to try and mock somebody over. I don't know. I'm just not a guy that really likes things being unfair. So when I point this stuff out, all I'm saying is it would be nice if people could actually, put what they want to wear on and not have to worry about, I don't know, someone getting mad at them and trying to question them and argue with them, and just like all the other weird stuff that happens. I think I remember that when I was talking about Triple L, I said that one of the stupidest things she ever said was that because I'd mentioned that, like, if you get turned down by women, you'll have people who accuse you of, you'll have like these guys in your internet who accuse you of being gay. And she said she didn't understand why I would be like offended or upset by being accused of being that. And I said, you'd have to be a real idiot to know, in a world where you can find multiple countries where homosexuality is a thing that just is not tolerated, period. In the US, it was like that, not necessarily where you would get in trouble over it by law, but it was also something that, well, gay marriage didn't get legalized until literally not even 10 years ago. But my point I'm making is, for as much persecution as that group gets, it's so stupid that this privileged, I'm just going to say it, white girl would be like, I don't understand why you would be upset, why you would not want to be thought of as being like, it's so obvious as to why that would be something I would try to stay away from. Because, and it's like, that's why I said, when something hasn't happened to people, they really can't understand why it would bother somebody else. They just have no idea. It's also funny. They have jobs where they want you to and this isn't even like about clothing, it's just another like example. So, like, in general society, women don't have beards or any kind of like facial hair. So, like, if you have a job where they want you to cut your beard or to like have no mustache or whatever, that's another example of, like, if you were a woman, you wouldn't even, like, that wouldn't even be a restriction on you, because in general you wouldn't have to worry about having to do that. And if you think about it, even with jobs where they want like a woman to like not have her hair and stuff, usually they just have them put it in a ponytail or like wrap it up or something. They don't really get mad at them for having long hair or anything. So that's like another example of the disparity, that even with some of these jobs, when they have like requirements of mustaches and beards, they're completely fine with, again, any like personal customization that women have regarding themselves. And a lot of the stuff that they get upset over is stuff that both have. So, for example, I went to that job interview yesterday. One of the things they talked about was how at the place they don't want people to have visible tattoos, and I don't have any, so that doesn't apply to me. But that's something that could affect both genders, because I know males and females that have even though it seems like it's mostly slanted toward females now for some reason. They like having that ink on themselves, but whatever. It is so true. There was a job with this it's some kind of hair care place, and they wanted me to get, like, they wanted, if you want to work for them, you have to cut up your beard and get boots. And it's like, well, I mean, why should I do that for that type of job, when, because this is with a temp agency, I know they can get rid of me after a week or 2 weeks. So then I just shave for nothing. Yeah, man, I'm noticing more and more chicks have tattoos than men. Like, I had a teacher with a tattoo, and that school was completely fine with her having it, because she would, wear tank tops and stuff, and you could see it. Um, I of the relatives that I know of that have them, it's all female. So yeah, I don't really know any men that, I'm sure there, I'm not going to say that there aren't men that have, but just I don't personally know any men that have them. It's just a bunch of women, writing their boyfriend's name on them or whatever. I know I had one guy I used to talk to when I was in middle school. He wrote his grandma's name on his arm um, after she passed away. But outside of that, I really can't think of guys that have tattoos. It's mostly just a bunch of chicks. Ink is for sailors. Well, I told one of them they curse so much they should be in the Navy. So are eye patches. Dude, I'll never, like, listen, as much as I don't think alcohol tastes good, and I don't want to like ever run the risk of getting addicted to that stuff. I get why people like it. I get why people smoke. I'll never get the appeal of like, let me write this on myself. But whatever. Hey, people want to do it. That's on them. It's just not something I'm into. Hey, what was my saying? You preach acceptance while being met with intolerance. I'm not even joking. I really want to do some social experiments just to see like reactions to things. Like go to one of these places. It could just be any of these old jobs, right? And just what's a good example? If it's somewhere that's like not a kitchen, like one of those slippery places, like you can just kind of wear whatever she want. Wear some female shoes and just see what happens. Like just see if anyone says anything or whatever. I would be really interested in seeing what happens in a result like that. Because with feet, it's the thing people see the least. So I would be interested in like if anyone is like bothered by that or notices or anything. That would because people are so obsessed with clothes, man. Like at least the ones I'm around. I don't think people in general are like that because I don't get this from regular people, but it's really weird, man. I'd like to see like what reaction would occur because like I said, I don't really take these jobs seriously anymore because they're always ready to hire and fire you whenever they feel like it. I guess I'm old fashioned. Apparently, a lot of us are. Remember that one broad, that one supposed broad, because we know that these guys like to make accounts for women's names to trick somebody. Came on and was like, "Your views are so old fashioned. Like, what's old fashioned about wanting to get married before you have children, so the children can have a stable two-parent household, and the man doesn't get put on child support?" I remember at a job I worked at, the manager watched me to take my wanted me to take my headscarf off while working. I was disgusted by this because I usually have it on whenever I work and keeps my head warm. Well, that's what gets me. Like, if you get hired somewhere, they should tell you up front, "Hey, look, you can't wear this, or you have to wear this." Like, there shouldn't be a thing where in the middle of you work and they're like, "Oh, take this off, don't wear this." That's ridiculous. But what disturbed me was there was this woman also working and always. Oh, that's another disparity. Well, I should say. But what disturbed me was there was this woman who was also working and always had their headscarf on. That's another disparity because it's and I don't know who created this, but it's like a thing where when a man goes into a building, he's supposed to take his hat off, which I guess your headscarf would count as, but a woman can keep hers on. Like I've seen that written in places that it's a formality for a man to remove his hat when he goes somewhere. But then the other gender they can keep that thing on all day long. It was completely fine for her, but the manager only told me to take mine off. That really pissed me off. It should. Again, more disparity. Like I said, don't let anyone tell you that this is a thing that is always going to be in effect and things should be this way. Because, like I said, man, if you sat here and started, I guess what really this is about is I don't like the idea that I live in a world where people say if you talk about what a woman's wearing or try to tell her what she's wearing, there's something wrong with you, you're sexist, whatever. Like I don't like that they can say that to me if you because I don't go around talking about what they wear anyway, just in general. But then if you wear something, people feel like they can just say whatever. Like I don't see how that's fair. Remember, what does feminist society want? Fairness, right? Things to be equal. You can't have equality, and one side can wear whatever they want with no, and any criticism directed toward them is ill-advised, not something that you should do, etc., etc. But then if you're a guy, people can talk trash about whatever you have, and you're supposed to just be like, all right, well, whatever. I guess I just have to put up with this and man up and listen to the crap. That's stupid. Again, this is not equality. It's lightweight logic from people who didn't think it out. And just more examples of the disparity. You think I'm kidding? I'm really thinking that shoe thing would be kind of interesting, just like just to see what would happen. Like how many would notice, how many would I don't know. I just have a hard time believing that that's a thing that most people would even care about. But it is interesting to just like buck the trend even in that little way, you know? Yeah, women can wear whatever they want, and you better shut up. But if you wear something and people don't like it, be prepared to hear all types of nasty things directed your way. That's true fairness. Yeah, you definitely know that I was getting a bad taste in my mouth about working there anymore after that. That was the only job I went to that I was told to take my headscarf off. Yeah, these jobs are not very consistent with their rules, in that some places with uniforms will tell you, okay, you can wear your jacket, or oh, you can't wear that. But like they're not really consistent. So when you have one that's even more extreme than the others and says, no, you just can't wear your headscarf at all, then yeah, I would just walk away. Because like I'm not going to work somewhere that tells me I have to take my necklace off, because that's not only part of my religion, but also a memento to one of my relatives that gave it to me. So I would tell them to go kick rocks. Like I said, these places just need to stop. These places need to stop being inconsistent. They need to tell you up front. Like if they hired you and said you can't wear this, and then you come wearing it, that's one thing. But if you're in the middle of working, they're like, oh no, no, that's stupid. Oh, Jem said I didn't even read this. I'm sorry, Jem. I did a lot of social experiments. People don't look black men in the eye. Um, I don't know. I guess sometimes I've noticed that. I'll have to pay more attention, because a lot of times I'm just like walking down the street. I don't really look at any of the people myself. I'm just trying to get from place to place. But I don't dispute that they do that. But I'd rather them not look me in the eye than bother me. So I like how they didn't even tell me before they hired me. Yeah, that's what they do. When I worked at that place the year before last year, the one with the stupid manager, and like I was only there for 9 days and he threatened to get rid of me after 1 week. Um, I was I wasn't told like, oh, you can't wear a jacket or a coat, because I had worked somewhere before that where they let me wear a jacket or a coat, and it's some of those places are really cold. So yeah, that stuff did piss me off. Like they don't tell you anything about this before you get hired. But there's a lot of stuff they don't tell you about before you get hired. I mean, let's remember when I started working for that retailer last year, they didn't say, "Hey, by the way, we have this website, and if enough people complain about you on there, these random shadow organization higher ups can tell me to get rid of you." So yeah, I had a place that hired me for, it was like some canvassing company, and I was all ready to ready to go to their office and whatever. And then I get sent this thing that they want me to memorize in 5 days, and it's like 3 paragraphs. Like, make it out of here. So I said, people have really lost their minds. Like they think we're supposed to just I don't know what they believe. We're supposed to just be their slaves and like um not do anything that we want to. It's weird. It's like we're circus animals. Well, I told you all these jobs believe you're their slave and you're supposed to bend to their will. And if you have any little freedom of expression, it's the end of the world. Um, Even though I fail to see how you wearing a headscarf stops you from doing the job that they told you to do. I don't know, man. I guess the way I look at it is if I was an employer and there's some employee and they're doing everything right or they're doing stuff that I want them to do, am I really going to sit there and get bent out of shape because they're wearing a head scarf or a necklace or I don't know the other gender's shoes or like who cares? Like if they're doing the stuff I want them to do, I don't. It doesn't bother me. So I said people can be so just weird, type of stuff that they focus on and like the decisions they make. Probably if I was an employer, I wouldn't even have a uniform because again, my thing is if you can do the work, the last thing in my mind is gonna be what you're wearing. Especially if we're working in some kind of like closed door setting. So I said people just their logic is bizarre to me. So crazy. It is crazy. There was something else I thought about. So like when a man gets married to a woman, again, suit and tie, but those wedding dresses, man, those things are like I'm not even joking, you could probably find 5,000 variants. You got some with sleeves, some that just have the straps or no straps, some that hit the floor, some that I mean it I told you even the stuff that they're restricted to has so many variations like oh my god. You think I'm kidding? Go and look at any assortment of wedding images and see how many of the guys' suits look identical, even 30, 40, 50, 60 years apart. But then all the women have these different dresses that look, I mean, like if you go on somewhere like June Bridals, for example, and you look at all the different styles that they have, you'll be like, damn, you didn't even know it could get this expressive. Dude, don't. It's too depressing to delve into. It's not pleasant to look at. Oh, well, I know, but all I'm conveying here is if you're a man, you got to fit into this one little tight, restrictive box. But if you're a woman, open season, you can be what you want. You can wear men's clothes. You can wear clothes for your own gender. You can wear pants, skirt, dress. You can wear red, blue, yellow, green, orange. And if someone tries to say you shouldn't be as open and expressive as you are, they get criticized. They get told to shut up. They get told they're misogynist, sexist, blah, 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 blah. You know what's really funny? And I'm not even saying this to like be comedic. If I were female and like I did the exact same type of videos, like this string could be every single thing I said, and the only variance would be maybe I don't know, like chicks still talk about romance stuff, but it's not the same. But if somebody came on here and they were talking about they didn't like what I was wearing, because YouTube is such a like woman structured like because just this is how the internet is now. I think if someone wrote that type of stuff, if I was female, they probably get banned off the whole site because they have like a rule about like describing physical attributes and like a harassment, and you could like argue that was something that fell under there. That's why I told you that like the disparity. Yeah, because I've seen like streams on Twitch, for example. Barry, I'm making another example. There was a woman who, so this guy did a video of his woman, and they were like recording themselves walking somewhere. And you can't see their faces, but this woman who didn't like the guy took the video. She uploaded on her channel, gave it some screwed up title about him and his whatever he called her some. They called her some kind of nasty name, right? And the comment section, people talking about her Payless shoes and just like being nasty, right? So all these people came over there and like reported for being, I guess the comment section and the person that had uploaded the video, and it was taken down. And most of the criticism, it seemed, was centered around the way that she was spoken of, because she's not a public figure, she's not a YouTuber. But I'm serious when I tell you that if I was female and some of the stuff that's happened on here happened, like these guys actually could get probably would have been like gotten rid of across the whole site. Because like that whole thing of talking about the way somebody looks and going to them and being like, why are you wearing like, I'm not joking. I've seen people removed from here off of doing that. Again, mostly the women, but my point still stands. They're real lucky. I'm part of the gender that nobody cares about unless it wants to criticize us, because it would have been a very depressing couple of years for them having to make all those different accounts. And you know what's sad? It's like I'm not even the kind of like if somebody wants to say I don't agree with you, that's fine. But like coming on here and talking about the way somebody looks and what they have on, and I just don't. I don't have time for it. I don't. But I've seen YouTube like bring the hammer down on people that go and like do that stuff to chicks. I mean, they don't play with them. No, you want to see some censorship? Go on some woman's video who has 100,000 subs and go in her comment section and write "you're ugly" or "I don't like what you" and see how long you're on this site. Like I said, I don't encourage the harassment of anybody. I don't encourage going and messing with chicks. I've said before, all I do is just leave them alone. That gets called extreme for some reason. But you think I'm kidding, Euro? Like these guys are really lucky that I am the gender that I am. Because if I was a chick and they wrote this type of crap, you're not just talking about getting a crappy channel with no subs banned. We're talking about getting gotten rid of across all of Google, which I've seen them do. That makes me wonder what the trigger for YT to use their ban hammer on a guy's stream video if they receive the same insults. Oh well, they're just not receptive to like our plight. I mean, I've seen a couple of instances where someone keeps screwing with people and they get report like there was like for example, I don't know if you remember, I gave him a nickname. I called him Ultra Instinct Illiterate. It was a guy that wrote this big, crazy paragraph about I need to wear this. And it was just like this really nasty message that was written on that Wide on Approach video. That person has been banned across the entire site of YouTube. I know because I clicked on their thing one day and it was like, this account has been terminated for violating, community guidelines. So there, that person just without even making any videos was writing such nasty, weird, antagonistic stuff all over the place that they just got themselves kicked off the whole site. And like I said, when you get community guideline violations, they don't just ban your channel, they ban you. You try to go in your email. So I hope it's worth it. So these people really have lost their minds. They're so lucky that this site is the way it is. No, it's What else was I gonna mention? I think there's something else we can discuss here. I'm just saying that would be a really interesting social experiment to have some kind of like minor female article of clothing and have it on like in a public setting and see like what happens, just like what occurs. And it's kind of funny because I remember I always thought about how like, oh, you'll be perceived this way, but like I don't know, it's just like you get to a point you just don't care anymore. Because my thing is, if people are gonna come and call you nasty stuff and attack you, they do it over anything. Not so receptive. That's very unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, I had someone literally steal my videos. And like YouTube's supposed to have a counter where if you upload the same video as somebody else, it tells you like, hey, this is a copy of this video that was put up, blah, 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 blah. Instead, they're able to do it. And I don't even find out about it until I look it up. And this is after people have seen this stuff. And I'm like, how crazy is that? They can just grab your stuff and stick on another account and like make no alterations to it whatsoever. Like that's not fair use. It's theft. I told you I tried to put up a Tom Hartman interview that he it was on his channel, but he privated it or unlisted it, whatever. I want people to see it, and I cut out the parts where it's not him and the politicians he's interviewing talking, and I get striked by him. He's like, "I'm gonna give you a few days, to take this down." But then when someone, because he got notified by YouTube, he doesn't just go around looking for it. But then when someone takes a whole video of mine, several of them, and doesn't do anything, just up, and my stuff is still up, just uploads on their account. YouTube doesn't tell me anything at all. That's BS, man. That's ridiculous. That's how you know this website is decrepit and there's rules for thee, but not for me. That's insane. I told you that, people feel like when they're on the internet, they can just do whatever. That's why they get so mad whenever these sites have rules. They don't like actually having, consequences for the stuff that they do or any kind of like guidelines that they have to abide by. And it's so weird too, because like YouTube has always had rules. And I mean, like when you sign up, you can't do this. So when it's like they're upset that the site wants you to follow what they tell you not to do, whatever. It's just I don't know. People are just weird. Anyways, I'm gonna get off of here because somebody's arriving. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you, Megumi, Euro Dollar, Gem. I will be back on Monday. Um, and I hope we were able to discuss everything to its fullest extent. If not, we can save it for Monday. I just hope I'll be able to find a appropriate time. So thank you.